The goal here is to tie together our alignment on physical stock with a digital file. So we do that by probing plate and identifying key reference points that mean our digital file can be placed relative to physical stock effortlessly, quickly, and precisely. So the 6 positions are center left, bottom center, center of the whole thing, bottom right, center right. So all of those positions we can index against with these flags, the fence, and the reticle. In the initial setup, we probed using the standard probing features, and that enabled us to identify this center point. So if we wanted to place a shape right in the center of the cutting window, that would get us that. Now if we move forward, there's also the leading edge here, so we can find the center of that. So we can find probe on these 2 points and then the center point. That gets us this point exactly. In this situation, we're going to set up plates so that we never have to identify this bottom center for a SOS hinge. So we're going to use the fence to identify a pencil mark at the bottom center of plate. Cut my file. So our reference scan here with the grid is what we're going to return to and duplicate to make new scans. We could do that manually by going into workspace, clicking the little name, and choosing duplicate and then renaming it and all that. But there's actually a little trick that'll speed things up. Because I actually also want to scan what's in my cut window, I can go add to scan and tilt down. So this is just imaging what I'm actually seeing when it's configured this way, which is a thing I want to do. I go start scan, stop scan, without moving it around. I don't need to scan everything, I'm just imaging what's in the cut window. Now the beauty of this is not only do I see my cut window configured as I intend to cut it, if I hit scan again, it's actually added a number. We've also actually duplicated the workspace, so I can just rename that. In this case, we're looking at the bottom center. And then from there, you can take them, add geometry, and give them their own custom name. So it might be bottom center SOS hinge, or bottom center, whatever it is you're installing in that location. That'll make it easier for searching your workspaces later and getting the exact workspace you need. Now I'm going to update the grid. So we'll go to design mode and then probe on the bottom here. So new grid, and I'm going to check everything. I've got a 1/4 inch shank installed here, and I'm going to just drop my cutter down so it touches the edge of my stock. I'm looking down at the cutter itself, and then I go set depth. So I'm happy with that. I'm probing on the top edge, so I just take my cutter shank, which is represented here as green, and it's just walking us through the 3 probe points, same as we would do with regular origin. So move it forward, tap, and keep in mind there's going to be a little offset between what we see in the workspace and where the grid is. So that's the point of the grid, is to get us dead accurate. Second one, there. Now you'll notice it's gone to auto mode and it's going to try and probe the center. I also need to lift origin up and bring it over here to my little gap. Now you'll notice origin's not going to sit flat, so I actually have to just change the depth here and hit the orange button to bring it down. Checking down here to make sure it actually touches that edge, the right hand edge of this. I don't want the center, I want the right hand edge because that's where we're indexing on. Press here to switch to the right. And you'll see now my shank of my cutter is in that little cavity and I'm going against the center of that right edge. I don't press anything too hard, I don't want to move things around. And then I just tap and we're good. So now from this point on, I know that I can always go to plate bottom center 2 and reference any design to that 0, point where the pencil mark is. Now beyond that, there's actually 4 more spots you may want to probe. That's in these bottom 2 corners on either side. Now, if I deploy the fence and these 2 flags, I'm going to find the edge of this panel. So now we have the 2 flags indexing, finding me this edge precisely, and the fence, which we've just deployed and retracted, has found this leading edge. So I know where this corner is, and it's time for me to create a workspace where I grid these points here, here, and here. And from that point on, I can always place any geometry relative to this corner with the positioning tools in Origin. That way I can set up my workspace, name it, and never have to do any more gridding there. This edge is not well supported. It's supported all the way back here. So I'm actually just going to put a clamp in this corner, same as we always do. Try to keep it straight, make sure it's pushed all the way to the back, and just tighten that finger tight. So that'll stop it tilting, and I've placed it perpendicular to that edge. So either that way or that way works. In this case, that's great. I'm going to start by finding my reference workspace, and I'm just going to take the ref one here. You'll notice I've still got my old grid through the center. So first things first, I might just do a scan and capture what it actually looks like down there. So I'm going to go add to scan and just hold origin here, start scan. So just 2 clicks, I'm just basically taking one shot of that, looking down. And now you'll see I can kind of see how that's laid out. I can see that what is within my window here. I'm not using that as an alignment reference, just a visual guide so I know kind of how this workspace is laid out. You see, it makes a lot of sense there.
Now we just need to name it in a way that you can search and find it easily when looking at plate workspaces. So I use something like plate, bottom left.
Now this grid is in the wrong place, so I'm going to probe in these 2 corners and then over here, spaced out so I get a nice accurate alignment there. So to do that, grid, new, double check the diameter of my cutter, and then I'm going to lower it down. I'm looking down here. I've got my 1/4 inch shank exposed, so it's a perfectly 1/4 inch cylinder, and I just hold the green button to go down until I engage with the edge of my wood. So I go set depth. You'll notice there's a little offset here between the accurate grid position and the add to scan, the visual image. So rely on the grid more so than the visual image. So touch, probe, then we move sideways, touch, probe, and then we come around the edge, and you'll notice we've updated. The auto one has done the correct thing. It could have been left, right, or center. We want the right, probe. I can hold onto it, release. So now that's the bottom left corner accurately set up. So we can do the same approach for the center line here. So if I want to align to a pencil mark along an edge, with origin facing this way, I can just drop it down with my flags engaged and my reticle pulled down. So that will enable me to come like so. And now this pencil mark I can reference perfectly. So there's a number of ways we can go about this. First, I'm going to create my workspace correctly and create a new grid. So I'll do the same thing. We'll do an add to scan to capture the actual state of it. So add to scan. Before I click the green button to go, I just go and put it in this state. Start scan, stop scan. So I'm trying to get it above my material so we can see it well. So I can see my pencil mark, we're good to go. So to find the center line, I'm going to probe these marks because they align perfectly. The reticle here identifies that. And then to find the edge, I'll just probe the edge with my third. 1, 2, 3. So grid, new grid, lower. So I'm going to hover over to that corner. And this will require that I change the height mid-operation. Make sure you're pushed all the way in. I've got the 1/4 inch shank there, set depth. So you'll see where I am. Now I'm probing the top. I want to probe the bottom. So click that once, the little auto option. It alternates between top, bottom, center. So we want the bottom, and then I go probe 1. Then come over here for probe 2. And then, at the moment, I'm just going to hover across the material. But the cool thing with this feature is we can lower some more and then go accept that depth. Now when I touch the edge of my stock, my cutter's actually engaging with it. Once again, flip to the right and release. So what we've done here is we've identified left edge, so the edge that's indexed against the flags, and also that pencil mark. And then the pencil lines align to the reticle. So that's center left. So we've just been through center, bottom left, center left. And you'd rinse and repeat for the right hand too.
With those key index points gridded and saved out as reference workspaces, then we can jump into the hardware catalog, grab the hardware file we want to cut, sync it to Origin, and then place it relative to these corner reference grids. So they'll align with the indexing details, and then from that point on, plate is now the universal template for Origin. So you just drop it down, index it where appropriate, and just recall that same workspace and cut over and over again precisely every time.